want to carry my love away to a place she loves.
They can never shut me out, 'cause I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
How for the result, though? Nothing to discuss, oh, 'cause I did win by default and without any doubt, oh. I'm a me happy adult, oh. I no go feed the girl, I no go feed.
Alaga singa, subalaga sum. Alaga singa. Yum papa ya ya, yum papa ye ye.
Bonjour à tous. Hello everyone. This is your favorite vlogger, Christabel John, coming live from Paris, France. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here and to be recording my maiden episode of Chrissy J Speaks. Basically, you guys know I've been talking about this for a while, and last year I was all interested, you know, getting all my contents and everything, and then there was silence, right? But don't blame me, something came up and I thought I need to chill. But now your girl is here and I am here to stay. So let's get cracking. If you go on my Facebook page, Christabel John, you can see all my credentials, what I've studied, where I've worked, and you know, it could tell you a little bit more about my life. But in a nutshell, that's me. Let me get cracking into it. So basically today I'm going to be talking about mental health, and some people might be wondering why mental health, but it's something very close to my heart, and also it's something a lot of people are suffering from in silence, and I think it's about time we break the stigma on you know, the stigma and the taboo on mental health, and we need to shine some light into it. So that's what I'm hoping to do today. So I'm not a medical doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm just a regular lady. But yeah, I'll just basically talk about what I know about mental health and basically touch on my views on it. So what is mental health? So mental health is something, obviously it's an illness that affects your mind. It affects the way you think, the way you behave, it affects your mood, it affects the things that you do, the things that you get into. It affects every single area of your life, your relationships with people, whether you're married, you've got a boyfriend or girlfriend, or you're working. Mental health, if you're suffering from it, that is, it will touch and affect all of these things. So I am British born, but I grew up and I was raised by Sierra Leonean parents. I also have a Sierra Leonean passport, so I'm dual citizen, got dual citizenship. But basically the reason why I'm talking about this today is because, especially in my country, Sierra Leone, mental illness is something that's frowned upon, and a lot of young people are suffering in silence because they're afraid that if they talk about it, they'll be seen, you know, as that. Well, what I've heard anyway from people is that if they talk about mental health, they're looked as if they're crazy, and that's the first thing I want to touch on. People suffering from mental illness are not crazy. No. It just means that they're going through a very painful, a very difficult time in their life, and they need our help and they need our support. So please, let's first and foremost change the way we think. When somebody comes to you and says they're suffering from depression, they're not crazy. They're basically going through a difficult period in their life and they need help and professional support if possible. So different things can, you know, there are different reasons, why somebody could have mental illness. It could be that they lose their job, it could be that there's a breakup in their relationship, whether it's boyfriend or girlfriend, whether it's a divorce, maybe a loss of a child through miscarriage or death. It could be anything. Some people are prone to mental illness genetically. Yes, it's been proven that some people have the genes or they have the DNA that causes them to suffer from mental illness. Some of the people, it's because of life circumstances. Something drastic happens in their life and they don't know how to cope with it, or yeah, it just basically takes a knock on their lives and their self-esteem and their confidence and all of that. And at that time, a particular time in their life, they're just finding things really, really difficult. And that's when obviously they need to reach out to some people. One thing we need to know about mental illness is that it can be severe and it can be mild. Obviously, people who have mild depression, for example, you lose somebody who's close to you, maybe the death of your mom, your dad, or a relative, right? You're going to grieve. If you're close to that person and you love that person, you are going to grieve their death, right? So you can be depressed, but that's sometimes doesn't last forever or that long. It probably lasts, I don't know, let's say, it depends on how you're grieving and who you lose, but let's say a time frame from 2 weeks to maybe, let's say, 3 months. Yeah, you're still, obviously grieving is a continuous thing, but I'm talking about the time when you're really, really down, when you're really sad and you're, you know, in a bad place. That could last anything from 2 weeks to 3 months, depending on the individual, etc. I mean, it took me 2 years, well, more than 2 years, to grieve the loss of my dad. But basically, for me to get to a better place, it took me about 2 years. But the most critical, most difficult time were the first, let me say, I'd say 3 to 6 months. Those were crucial. That was a crucial time for me. It was difficult for me, but I was down, I was depressed, but I knew it was because I was grieving. So I didn't seek any medical intervention from a professional, etc., etc. However, people can, I don't want to fall in the water, so I'm just checking that I'm not too close to the edge. Forgive me. But yeah, people can have bouts with depression for longer. And when that happens, you have to know that, okay, I'm in a critical point right now and I need help. There's no shame in talking to a loved one, a family member, or going to your doctor. In the UK, we go to the NHS, doctors available, and they're willing to talk about this issue because it's such a big thing right now in the UK, especially with COVID. A lot of people were locked in and a lot of people basically were suffering mentally. And so because of that, mental illness is now in the open, and it's something that we are talking about, but not so much in the African community. And this is why I am here, you know, talking about this, because in the African community it's something that is frowned upon. I remember when I was going through a bout of depression and I was talking to my Sierra Leonean sister, somebody who was very close to me, and I was telling her, I was like, oh, I'm suffering from depression, I'm down, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, this person is a mental health nurse, and the person said to me, Christabel, you're not depressed, you're not suffering from mental illness, only white people do. Imagine. And I was like, oh, you are in the UK, you are a trained mental health nurse, and you are saying this to me. So obviously, you know, after hearing that, if I was somebody who was timid or not confident in themselves or whatever the case, I would have been like, she's right, I'm not suffering from depression, it's probably something else. But I knew how I was feeling, I knew what my mental state was at the time, I knew that I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating properly, I was losing weight, etc., etc., and I knew I needed to get help, and I did get help. I went to the doctor, I spoke to them about my symptoms and how long it had been going for, and I was directed to the right professionals. So I started therapy, and I'm talking about as recent as this year. Back in end of March, April, I went through an episode of depression triggered by my visit to Sierra Leone. I'll talk a little bit about that soon. But yeah, I basically went ahead and got the help that I needed. So I'm trying to say to you guys, talk to somebody who you know is not going to judge you, you know, preferably health professionals are better, but for people living in Sierra Leone. I know there are a couple of people in that country that are now promoting mental illness. I would have named their names, but I don't know if they want me to, so I'd leave that for now. But if you're in Sierra Leone particularly, I say Sierra Leone because I am Sierra Leonean, and as much as I'm doing this for the wider audience, I do want to speak to my people. So yes, please drop me a comment. If you want my email address, I'll give it to you, and I can point you to the right people who can help you if you're suffering from depression or low mood, and it's been going on for a long time, and you want to get to the root cause of it. So if you need that help, I will point you to the right people. So coming back to me quickly, some people might want to know what triggered my depression. Well, my depression was triggered by toxic relationships, heartbreaks from these men that I was dating back then. Nothing like the king that I'm dating now, by the way, but anyway, that's another story. But yeah, I got divorced in 2016, and I never healed from my divorce. I was bang into another relationship, and then I got pregnant for my son Isaiah, and then the next thing you know, I'm dealing with pregnancy, I'm dealing with being a single mom, I'm dealing with my divorce, going through that same period. So it was a lot on me emotionally, and that was was that the first time? I think that was not the first time I had depression, but the first time I sought medical intervention in the form of therapy. So when I came to UK, I'd go for my appointments, and I'll just cry. I'd go on my own and I'll just cry. And then the midwife picked up on that, and she was like, Christabel, you need help. And I was like, I think I do need help, because I just cry all the time and I wasn't enjoying my pregnancy. And so she referred me for therapy, which I gladly went to, and it was talking therapy. So you basically go for an hour a week and you speak to a therapist about how you're feeling, why you're feeling this, and he basically helps you to change your mindset. And I did about 6 sessions, and my people, it worked. It really worked. It really helped me. And by 6 sessions with the therapist, I was in a better place. I was alive and I could enjoy the rest of my pregnancy. Yeah, I think I had about 4 months to go then, and yeah, it really did help. Talking therapy really does help. So you don't necessarily have to be on medication if you don't want to, but you can go on to therapy and just talk. Somebody's not going to judge you. They just listen. They're just basically there, and you just pour what's in your heart. Pour, and then you are free, and you exhale. But yeah, I'm just trying to make a bit light, because it's a serious subject, but I don't want us to be all tense about it. I want us to be, something we can talk about. Let's have these conversations. So basically, what triggered my depression, the last bout that I had in March, April, I went to Sierra Leone. That was it. I went to Sierra Leone for Easter, and all the memories just came back, all the pain came back, everything I suffered whilst I was married. I'm not blaming this on my ex-husband, by the way. I'm just saying what I went through as a whole. Having gone through that, relationships that followed after my divorce, getting pregnant with Isaiah, and then having Isaiah. Then a year after I had Isaiah, I went into another relationship with a lawyer. He knows himself. Yes, you. I won't call his name in this episode because I'm talking about mental illness, but he knows himself. He's a lawyer. He's cute. And I think he started working out recently. We're friends, so no bad bloods. Yeah, there are no bad bloods, and he'll be cool. I mean, you guys don't know who I'm talking about, so it's fine. But yeah, I dated him. Lovely relationship, but then it all went sour downhill. So that affected me. And then after him, I dated some guy 9 years younger than I was. It started off well, and then it was toxic. And then who else? I think that's about it. I've only dated 3 guys, and I'm 40. After my divorce, Christabel's only dated 3 guys. That's it, Mom. But yeah, that's not what's important. So basically, the hurts, the pain, just all the memories of being in that country and dating these men, and how they ended and how hurt I was, triggered my depression, and it was horrible. It was the worst depression I've ever had in my life. But thanks be to God Almighty, I am now okay. I went for therapy, spoke to my therapy, and I'm feeling much better. Some people will be saying, oh, no wonder she acts the way she does. Something was wrong there. No, darling, I'm just this way. I'm just naturally this way. I've always been this way. I mean, people who really know me, who went to university with me, would know that Christabel's always been like this. So my mind's fine. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much. My time's up on this episode. I will be talking about this, you know, in subsequent episodes, but I don't want to bore you guys. So for today, thank you all once again for listening to Chrissy J Speaks live in Paris, France. How beautiful is my backdrop? Let me move so you can see. So this is the canal, and just people enjoying the weather. It's 23 degrees in France today. Could I not have chosen a better time? Anyway, until next time, take care of yourself and each other, and keep watching. Mwah. Au revoir. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
I want to flex my love. I want to impress. And I want to carry my love to a place she loves.